Morning. I want to talk to you about the simple steps that I've used to be able to create opportunities to find the money to grow my business. So, this is day 5. I can't believe that we've gone through a whole week. This is day 5 of how to find the money to really for entrepreneurs to grow their business. But honestly, even if you're in a regular 9 to 5 job, today's coffee with Shanda will absolutely help. So, as you're joining live, good I'm super happy today. It's so crazy. I feel like I woke up. You know, when you wake up in the middle of a dream? I feel like I woke up in the middle of a dream this morning where I was sleeping and then I woke up in the middle of the dream and my little 3-year-old son crawled over to me and he put his face on my face and he was behind me and he just like snuggled up against me and I thought, God, what an amazing life we live. And I remember the days when I used to pray for this, amazing husband, and I used to pray for an amazing child, and I used to pray for a house on the ocean, and I used to pray for all of the clients and the people that I get to serve. And I remember even, and maybe you can relate to this, even praying for like just figuring out what can I serve the world with that will make such a great impact that I can also be someone who, makes millions and millions of dollars. Unbashfully just being okay with that. And now I'm here. And it was things like, it was really the very beginning was me practicing what I'm actually going to talk about today. And that is, it sounds cheesy, but it really is 3 things that I do. And even when I was preparing for today, I was thinking, I should get obsessed with doing this again because some of it I just do naturally now, but I feel like if you get obsessed with this, then things really shift quickly. So, um, the first thing, and I'd write this down and I'd put it up on the wall. If you follow me at all, everything goes up on the wall. If this is something that resonates with you, it should go up on the wall. If you want to dominate it or you want to integrate it or whatever your process is to be able to master something, I really believe that connection is currency and it needs to be in front of you all the time to be connecting with it. So the first thing that I do is I start noticing what's working like everywhere in my life. Like I could be walking through walking through the morning and go like, what's working? Well, what's working is that, all the candles in my life, the candles in my house were all lit by our house manager early this morning before I ever came upstairs, which really worked for me. But then immediately my mind goes to what's not working, which was, I know this sounds crazy, but she actually made me a gluten-free almond butter toast, and that wasn't working for me because it took me out of the routine. My daily routine is to come up. I get my dandelion tea. It's kind of like a latte, but it's a tea. And then I literally sit down. I review what it is that I'm going to do for coffee with Shanda. And then I pull open my Bible and I read my Bible and I sit and I pray. Now, this morning I prayed with my son. Then I came upstairs and then the candles were lit and then my toast was there. And then I ate the toast and I didn't read my Bible. So it's easy for your mind to flip onto what's not working. Now, back in the day, this is, and I'll re-go over these like in more depth, but back in the day, I know that sounds so, even saying it just sounds just really low vibrational. It sounds really amateur, is like when things would trigger me, I used to get angry and I would get kind of short and a little bitchy. You know what I mean? Like I was never mean, but I was like, it's just like, like that behind closed doors. So if you do lots of behind closed doors, just know that you're actually short circuiting your ability to bring in more income. Like you're short circuiting it. It's like, who you are behind closed doors really does matter. It really does matter. I mean, you could get so good at your presentations and so good at your marketing that you can bullshit your way to success, but honestly, eventually people really start finding out who you are behind closed doors and they start to spread that information. And it spreads and it spreads fast because negative news is contagious. So I'm gonna recommend that you train your brain to look for what's working. I shared yesterday that I had a missed miscarriage, right? At 7 weeks pregnant, and then the babies were there. We thought I was actually having triplets, and then all of a sudden they weren't there anymore. And just training my mind automatically. I actually want to take this on and get more intentional about growing what I see is working. But for some of you, you just need to get balanced on just getting your brain to the point where it just notices what's working. So when I walked into the doctor's office and had an ultrasound, it was like, oh, we just think you've had a miscarriage. The sac looks empty now. And even yesterday, I was like, gosh, I still feel so pregnant. I took a pregnancy test and my body still thinks it's pregnant, which is a little like annoying. See how your brain can go into that? It's like a little annoying because I would like to just move on with it so that, I can open myself back up to getting pregnant and feel better without hormones all over the place. Right. So it's like, you gotta look and you gotta say, okay, but what is working? Well, what's working is that, I know this sounds crazy, but I see the benefits of not being pregnant right now. Right. And it's like, so you got to look, like I look at that. So like, say, let me put it into like your marketing plan, or say that today you have a sales goal, not trying to mesh those two things together. But at the end of the day, if you study any spirituality, it's like treat negativity and treat like celebration as the same imposter. And the essence of, I don't want to go too deep into this, but it's like, you have to learn how to manage your mind so that you can go through life. And it's like don't get too excited about meeting that top influencer because of what might happen in your life. I learned this in real estate when I exploded financially. It's like, stop thinking like that big deal is going to come together. I see this all the time. Like my clients will be like, oh my gosh, like Ariana Huffington is going to put me on the Huffington Post, and it's, everything's coming together. It's like, honestly, like I honestly say that one of the best things you could do is just be in this element of gratitude each time. Now, I hate, and I mean this with all honesty, I hate what sometimes spiritual practices can do to us. And let me explain what I mean by that. There's so often that we force ourselves to be in these different states. And they're all just emotional states, whether you're reading it through the Bible or listening to Tony Robbins or listening to, some, spiritual text. They all kind of say the same thing, right? They all say the same thing in one aspect. I personally subscribe to scripture, but in one aspect, they say the same thing. They want to put you into an emotional state so that you can weather the storm and you can keep going, not pull back. That's a major aha for so many people. You get emotionally triggered in the day and you give up on whatever it is you said you were going to complete. So step one is get obsessed, like obsessed with finding what's working in your marriage, what's working in your relationship, what's working with your sister when things are in breakdown, what's working, as, a working parent, what's working, like in a marketing campaign that is falling apart, what's even working in you not showing up all the way, like literally, so that you can unhook from the guilt, unhook from from like, so many people say to me, like, even, I don't really negative talk myself anymore. I say bullshit if you're not successful, because if you even for 1 second think you're not strong enough, good enough, or you don't know enough to get to that next step, you actually have an element of insecurity, self-discipline, self-worth. Those are all in my books, not a growth mindset. So I've hacked the system, and I had to hack it because before I got obsessed with scripture, I was obsessed with books like A Course in Miracles. Love Wayne Dyer, still love Wayne Dyer. But I just kept finding that I wasn't able to follow the formulas in a way that had me not pull back. So for instance, like we have leadership trainings in my company. And it's like, I'll see clients that I know should do leadership trainings, and they'll say things like, I just feel like it's not the right timing because I've got, this on my plate, or, I don't feel like it's the right time to staff because, I just got pregnant, or, well, actually you wouldn't staff if you got pregnant, but you get what I'm saying? Like they put these things in front of it because what they actually are doing is not, their mind is not wired for massive growth. And by the way, that's massive growth as a parent, as a friend, you think you're rocking it in your marriage now. You see what can happen when you actually rewire your brain like this. But you have to be willing to do this. You have to be willing to see what is working in every situation. What is working if I actually go staff? What is working if I actually go do PhD? What is working if I actually commit to doing a webinar every couple weeks? What is working if I if I'm training a salesperson and maybe they're not closing yet, but what is working? Right? When you start to speak into what is working, I'm going to tell you, even with people that you work with, even your coaches, right? If you want to get more out of your coaches, start speaking into what's working with them. And what's going to happen is you're going to open them up even more, where they're going to give to you on a level that explodes you, and they're going to access wisdom that you're not accessing yet because you just opened up a vortex of what's possible. It's like people show up more when you see them. You show up more when you actually stop holding yourself back because you logically want to somewhere in your life be more comfortable, which honestly is just crap. It's the most selfish decision you can make. I know that sounds crazy, but all the fulfillment, all the joy, all the being present is actually in accessing that next step that's opening up in front of you. So I don't want to lose anybody here. And I know some people are following me and they're getting these like, okay, I'm seeing it, right? If you're seeing it, share this on the comments because I want to know who you are, that you're actually seeing this. So what I'm asking you to do now is get obsessed with writing down, not just noticing what's working, but get one of those little tiny books and write down what's working. If you want to get hyper good at your tracking, everything grows when you track it, right? Everything. You want your money to grow, track it, right? So track your emotional state and what's in your life. Write that down in your little notebook. And then for the next few days, well, really for the next 40 days at least, okay? The next 40 days at least. But for the next few days, before you check in with your emotional state again, literally write down all the things that you're noticing. So people might think you're a little weird. I have a friend, Joe DeSena, who owns Spartan Races, who at one point, he literally wore a weight vest on him, and everywhere he went, he wore a weight vest. Now people thought he was nuts, right? He walked into Google to do a presentation with a weight vest. He changed that to, he got inspired by a guy working out that was disabled, and he started carrying around a in CrossFit, help me somebody in CrossFit, not the dumbbells, but you know what I'm talking about? The bells that have the thing on the top that you do hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he was carrying around like a 60-pound bell like that through the airport. He scratched off the numbers because you're not allowed to take it on the plane with a certain weight. He did whatever it took to stay in the craziness of his goal. So you've got to be able to like stretch. We all admire people like this, right? To be able to stretch like that, you want to literally go, what is my emotional state and what is in my life right now? Because what's in your life right now will grow once you stop logically stopping yourself to be in your darn comfort zone. So forget about your comfort zone. It'll go away naturally and you'll enjoy it going away. You won't be freaked out when you start to condition your mind on what's working. And then write it down in your little book and risk looking like crazy, like Joe, where you're like literally at a grocery store and you're like, can you hold this for me for a second? You write this little thing down in the book. It's kind of the shower effect. You have a beautiful moment in the shower and you get a download. Then you get out of the shower and half the download's gone. Don't wait to write your findings down. It grounds it. Don't type it, write it. When you write it, it wires your brain different. Second thing, so that's step number one. The second thing that you need to do is you need to pass the trigger test. You need to pass the trigger test, which means that first of all, whatever you want to grow, track it. So if you want to grow your relationship with this, great. The purpose of this live is to talk about growing your money so that you can find money for anything that you want, right? And so, track what it is that you want to grow and how much of it's in your life. And you can get hyper focused on realizing that you have triggers in the area that you want to grow. So if you want to grow your money, you have triggers. So for instance, when I say to you, I might see somebody, Sometimes I'll see a client, it's very rare, it only happens maybe twice a year. I'll see a client that I know needs to book a VIP day with me. And it's a double-edged sword because I don't want any more VIP days. And I mean that hand on a Bible, right? But I do it because it's what the client needs, and I make myself available. It truly is a generous give. And I'll see a client maybe once or twice a year that I'll say, you need to do a VIP day with me. And that I'll watch that client who knows they need to do a VIP day have an emotional trigger around investing the money. So they might already be doing great. I mean, the whole community might think that they are rock stars, but their growth of where they want to go, they feel comfortable when they play with it and they get excited about it. But then when the opportunity comes up to invest time or money, they start to do this. They start to go into a scarcity mode. So you have to pass the tests, the trigger tests when they come up. So whatever they are, if they're money, I just gave you a money example, invest and move forward. You will figure it out. Like, it didn't come up in front of you to have you fail at this. Invest and walk through whatever your trigger is. Your trigger could be fear. It could be like laziness and you don't do what it takes to sell more people. Your trigger could be like, I don't want more people, like, I don't want to be responsible for more people. Whatever it is, it's the thing that must move. It must generously move for you to access really the things that you think you're building towards, right? You think you know the path, but you don't. It's through the triggers, okay? So say it's in a relationship. I just gave you money or business. If it's in a relationship, when that person does something that triggers you, you have to pass the trigger. If you don't find something that's working in that moment, it's very hard to stay consistent in passing the trigger because literally you're depending on your willpower. And trust me, the little devil that's wanting to get into your life and tear it apart is going to be waiting for the opportunity to expand that trigger and completely make you right about the why you did that and justify it. Then you're taking the stacks back and you're losing everything that you want. You just are. And if you track, you'll see how these emotional states are connected with gain or loss. The last thing that you need to do is that, especially let's go back into finding the money. When you change your emotional state with finding what's working, when you pass the trigger test and do it anyway, then what happens is open doors start to happen. You'll have an open door that will shortly open in front of you. It won't be years. It will be, if you get the emotional trigger comes up, right? That trigger comes up and you pass the test and go into it like fully enthusiastic, kind of laugh at yourself like, I got this. I see this trigger. I got this. I know what this is. This is a growth opportunity. And you walk into that, a door is going to open very quickly. A door is going to open very quickly. And it's almost like this quantum leap happens. It's like, on video games, the fast track. It's like, it's like literally this portal opens where a quantum leap happens inside of your business or your life. And it's like very specific in that area. So it's kind of like, the way I look at it and the way like God reveals it to me is that when I walk into, let's say, the money trigger and the trigger opens up in front of me and I walk through it, then what happens is the door immediately opens and there's almost a like, holy shit, can I do that? Like, do I deserve that? Like, am I that powerful to really, be on Oprah, to really be on Ellen DeGeneres, to really, have dinner with Ariana Huffington or, like something quantum leapish opens up in that area. And now you have to really practice generosity because now you have to sit back and you got to go, this isn't about me. Like, you don't want you to come into the game at this point because everything you've actually done has required you to outward focus, looking for what's working, passing the trigger test. It's all different levels of generosity, but it's all in the same family. So when the door opens and your opportunity to walk in it, you've got to walk in it. You got to walk in it swiftly. You can't overthink it. You can't get it perfect. You got to walk right into it. And then you've got to literally recalibrate managing your mind to how can I be of service to this? At the same time, know what you want. Know what you want. Know what you want. You know, whatever that commitment is inside you. That quantum leap has the goal happen that's outside of your reach. And I've never seen anybody hit it by pure work ethic or grit, ever. I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm just saying in all my years and all my different calibers of friends, I've never seen anybody hit it that doesn't act super fast when that door opens and completely becomes of service, because you will take yourself out of the game. Because what happens is you basically downgrade yourself when you get fearful and become all about your opportunity. It is your opportunity. Know what you want, but look to serve whoever it's coming through in a level that is like, and you'll see that you'll be able to do it, because the opportunity didn't happen unless you could step in and provide an abundance for someone in some area. But the only way you're going to notice it is if you get off yourself and give. So this was the last day of day 5 of how to find the money. All of them are on Facebook. We are currently putting them all up on YouTube right now. They should be up in the next 24 hours. So by Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, they will all be up on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube by typing in Hardcore Business Shanda Sumpter and type in both of those together. You'll find me on our YouTube channel. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. I do create content on that channel that I don't create anywhere else on Instagram or on Facebook. And the purpose of that is because I want to continue to grow our following there. It's such a powerful platform, YouTube. And so please go subscribe to us over there and follow us over there. In addition, if you like this live, if you're on Facebook, I'm going to ask you to please share it, share it, share it, share it. I would love to see, an abundance of shares on this Facebook Live. And on Instagram, I just love hearing from you guys in direct messaging. So please just say hi to me. Let me know that you're following me. I find sometimes Instagram, I don't know all of you guys. And so it's really nice to go into my inbox. And on Instagram, I actually do go into my inbox on Instagram and look and check it out and say hi. So it is me that you're getting. All right, you guys, that's it. Those are the 5 different ways that if you follow them, even maybe one of them, you're going to find that you're going to be able, kettlebell, you're right, Deidre, thank you, the kettlebell. If you follow these steps, I feel so certain that you will find the money to be able to invest in whatever you want, whether that's growing your business, in a relationship, in your fitness, whatever it is. But hopefully you do use it to grow your business. And whoever you want to hire next, hopefully you go hire them. And you walk through that door. And here's to just having such an extraordinary year where we don't hold ourselves back. We just so underestimate how much time we possibly could have, and I'll end on this, but I've had 2 people in the last week tell me that people have committed suicide around them. I've had another person inside of our company that, she had a parent pass away instantly. It's just everywhere. So I think we take for granted our space on this earth. And I think that you need to build the biggest business that you could ever build, make as much money as possible, even not possible, make more money than you ever thought was possible, and then give a lot away and take care of people along the way. I mean, there's nothing more fulfilling than being of use to people. So here's to an incredible day. Pick what you're gonna create today and actually create it. Do whatever it takes to create it, and then take those steps and let's track and grow. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.